What's happening?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. We're doing
Here.
Real Talk 447 is back again today. Got some work going on in here. So we got some pictures. Really? All right, the new studio.
He said, if you can't win, wreck someone who can. And
Exactly.
I knew I wasn't winning that.
Why do people not get out of the fast lane?
Every time I see that picture of you riding around with that big-ass fro you're wearing, I still get pissed.
So is that night I said preparate, but I didn't say what I wasn't supposed to say, and that's A1.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another season of Real Talk 447. I'm Jeff Emig. Of course, I'm joined by my buddy here, Ricky Carmichael, 5-time Monster Energy Supercross champion.
Nobody wants to hear about that stuff, man.
Yeah, they do. Hey, but actually, it's 7-time.
No.
Because you won the FIM title
They don't know.
in 2005.
Nobody's counting that.
Nobody's counting the 1998 125 East Coast title.
It's all right.
So we'll go with 5. There you go. Okay. All right.
How about you?
Well, if we're scoring like that, I have 1. But I'm very proud of that, though, dude.
Dude.
Also, we have a brand new location here for our studio. Yeah. We are in Irvine, California at the Fox Racing headquarters. So going to be stoked. We've partnered with Fox Racing for the production of Real Talk this season. So we're going to film from a few different locations around the headquarters here. The building's amazing. We spend a lot of time here. The irony, though, Ricky, what's the name of this red room that we're in? So all of the conference rooms here at Fox Racing headquarters are all named after different Fox athletes from bike, wake, motocross, you name it. And what's on the door for this one?
McGrath. This is the McGrath room. So this is a McGrath conference room. And, I was going to say he kicked your ass a lot, but he's kicked all of our asses a lot. So, and it's stylish, too. It's like red and it's good. I love it. It's better than what we had, right? I'm amped on it. It's going to be a great season. Season 2, Real Talk 447. We're going to have a lot of fun. There's a lot to talk about. Not only just rehashing each Supercross weekend and the results and downloading with all of our listeners of what we saw, what our thoughts were, but just other things too. And we'd love to hear your comments, what you guys would like to hear. I'm sure you just don't want to always hear about a download dump from the Supercross, but maybe try to bring in some other athletes from different disciplines, and we're excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun and
some different topics.
Different topics. I'm sure the trash talking is going to be better than ever. I mean, you asked
seem to
for
be like fired up. I know Supercross is starting in a couple days, but you seem to be ready. Are you on your game?
I mean, I don't have a choice. I better be.
Yeah, you got this show, which of course is
this
the
is like
most
a
important
warm-up
part of
for
the
me.
week, and then you
get
got
my
to do
timing right, my talking right.
Yeah, and then you have to do the little show for NBC later on this weekend. Yeah. So you're starting right at the top with the biggest show.
That's right.
Hey, speaking of starting at the top, we are going to start this season with
This is awesome.
a guest that is as legendary as it gets in the sport of Supercross. He's the 1984 AMA Supercross champion. His nickname is the O Show. Welcome to Real Talk, Jonny O'Mara. Hi, buddy. Dude, we got the O Show on.
Wow, that was a pretty good intro. But
Yeah, this
Thank
large
you.
studio audience that we have going here.
Yeah. You glad to be on, dude?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Knee is feeling better. We were talking about that before the show.
yeah, I thought for some of the people that may not know, I had to finally have my knee replaced, total knee replacement 13 months ago. So
Is that where they like hack off the?
yeah, Yeah, literally cut my leg in half.
I think about
Couple places, and
I was thinking about, like, I talked to Johnny like a few days after. I was texting with his wife Gina, just keeping up with him, making sure everything went well, and of course it did. But he was in so much pain, and when I was finally able to talk to him, when he felt well enough to text or talk, he had thoughts of that he made the wrong choice because he was in so much pain, more pain than he was before he had it replaced. He is having second thoughts.
But didn't Mike Bell had a double knee replacement, right?
yeah, I've heard all the the former guys a little bit older than me that had it done, like you said, Mike Bell, and God, they were always going like, dude, don't wait any longer. It's easy, and I'm like, so I kind of got prepped that way. So I was thinking. It's
No problem.
It's gonna be slam dunk, but
Little orthoscopic surgery, everything's good.
that was a dose of humble pie for me, big time. I mean, that first month was miserable.
I don't know if I'm going to, I hope, fingers crossed, I don't have to do that because I had one ACL done, the only knee injury I've ever had. It was the worst thing I went through. Now, keep in mind, I tend to complain a little bit, like when I'm sick.
Just a little?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, like this guy, he had his ACL. I was there when
Yeah.
he had that.
We were in Buellton.
That's right, up in at Castillo's Ranch.
Yeah.
Finally, yours popped. Mine popped a long time before in my career, and I just lived it out. Our time was like, if I had to have a knee reconstruction like that, it was over a year. So I was pretty established already, and I rode it out the last 3 or 4 years of my career.
I think I've told you this before, but we used to race the Golden State Series in Gorman, right, up here north of LA. And I remember being up on the hill and watching like the pro moto. It used to be like the warm-up races for Supercross. And I remember you were kicking ass in this race, and then you do something, and then you came down in a corner, and then you just laid your bike over and fell off.
Yeah, that was the initial
injury.
I remember to the T. I remember to the T.
Oh, what just happened? He just fell off his bike in the corner. But I didn't know what a knee injury was.
When was that?
86, 85?
It was so it was 2 weeks before Anaheim, which would have been 1986, the classic race in 86 with Bailey and RJ. But I was like, if you were there, I was leading it. Last lap had Wardy right on my tail, and I had a lapper kind of in my line. Thinking, okay, I got to watch this lapper, and sure enough, he just went the wrong way, and then I had to plant my leg out. Didn't crash, but I just felt everything. Like you said, you watched it. I knew right away. I didn't even try to get to the finish. Go ahead, Wardy, you won, and just popped it over, and that was the start of my my knee issues.
Full disclosure, I was a Team Green kid, so I was kind of stoked because Wardy.
You're all about go Wardy.
No, but then we were
that's
teammates.
just-
My first year as a pro,
I know.
1990, we were teammates.
I heard
And then
some
I'm
good
like,
stories.
I was hating on you for years for no reason.
I heard some good
Man, it
stories.
turned out I love this guy.
Dude, this guy was one of a kind when he was a rookie, huh?
Yeah, he's came a long ways.
Should we?
Pretty.
No, we
we're
can't.
going to save our favorite Osho stories for later.
Yeah. So for those, going back to Johnny's knee replacement, for those that don't know, Jonny is an avid athlete of whether it's running. When you ran out of gas and had to eject on the triple, you shattered your heel. That kind of sidelines you from running for the rest of time.
Still
now.
to this day,
Yeah,
I don't run anymore.
that was your passion. Then you went from that to cycling. You've always loved cycling. So getting that knee replacement, not only were you in a lot of pain, you were taken away from cycling, something that you love so much. I mean, for you, cycling every day is like a drug. It keeps your sanity. So you were in pain and you couldn't do it. You had no release.
Yeah, it wasn't too long though. I went like 4 weeks, so that sounds like a long time, but I was already pedaling and.
Did you listen to the doctor's
When you're Johnny's age,
to
4
the
weeks
T,
is
to the
like just a speck of time.
What's that?
So when you're Johnny's age, 4 weeks is like, percentage-wise, is like
Yeah, I
nothing.
know. I'm old. I get it. That's so good. I get it every day.
Hey, so check this out. So just to go through his career stats,
You need your glasses.
you raced
Osho.
pro. I got it. So I need.
Make sure you got them right.
Are these right? So you started your pro career in 1981, ended in 1990. I was actually there for that.
Is that right?
Well, I raced in 80 when I was on the Mugen Honda, so there might be a couple things there when I won Mid-Ohio on the 125 GP.
So maybe this is your Supercross career. This is specifically for Supercross. Okay, so
This is talking SX. You're right on the money.
yeah. So champion in 1984.
I was hoping he was gonna be wrong.
Here's what was interesting. I was looking at the stats. So you won the opener in Anaheim the year that you won the championship. You won 5 of 17 rounds, but you didn't start round 6. It said you didn't start
didn't
round
race
6. You
one
remember that?
I don't even know. Like
Okay.
that. If that was the case, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
you got no score. But also, check this out, Ricky. In 1984, there were 2 Supercross championships. There was a 15-round championship by InSport, and 2 rounds were AMA. So there were 2 different titles, but then it gets like kind of lumped together for statistics these days.
Yeah, all I look at is that I won the championship. that year.
118 starts.
Yeah,
I think I had 117.
So we're pretty close.
Yeah,
on,
we were close. Yeah.
on the time of
And
racing.
then you got 7 wins, I think.
7. We're
Fro
tied
won
on 7,
7
but
times.
we Johnny's got me when it comes to podium top 5s and top 10s. He blows me out of the water. I had more top 20s than you, I think.
Well, I mean, not like I just was pretty consistent across the board for sure.
I will say, I think in Johnny's time, that was a really tough time to be racing. I mean, there were so many. I'm not taking anything away from the guys now. I love it. There's just it's a lot like it is now, wouldn't you say, Johnny? Like there's so many guys that can win now. A little bit different in say Dungey, Villapoto days, my days, McGrath days.
There's not
knew
so
who-
much a standout guy. It's pretty
Similar to
evenly
when it
across.
was
Yeah, like you really can't pinpoint exactly who's going to dominate the series this year, and I think that's pretty much our time. It was like that a lot. There was quite a few people that had a chance to win races and possibly win the championship.
Wardy and RJ swapped championships 4 years, so that means that there would have been 6 different winners in 6 years.
Millions of stories, and you got to live a life that you probably never thought you would. You got to go to all these different countries. What's one of the most favorite places that racing has taken you? Like, man, I love going to this place.
You know, in our day, and because when I was with you a lot, you didn't have to do the Japan stuff, but I'd spend at least 2 times a year my whole career going to Japan because we were actively involved in the testing. So, and then they also had a Japanese Supercross at the end of the year, so testing plus the Japanese Supercross. I knew that I never was around for Thanksgiving, so that's why I'd be eating curry rice.
Osaka.
Yeah, I'd be eating curry rice when I know everybody was having Thanksgiving at home. So, but no, Japan was cool. I mean, they were always. I thought it was always cool to go see the race factory. Being it like that, and then. But I mean, I loved the international portion of it. As you know, Ricky, I mean, you love the Motocross the Nations, and I loved wherever I went in that, being part of that team so many times. And fortunately, I was always on the winning team, so I got pretty lucky on being.
Oh, you didn't,
Yeah,
you didn't get to experience not winning like Ricky and
Yeah,
I?
like me. I'm only 50-50 for the Nations.
Me
you
too.
Never,
too.
You never, Johnny, you never lost.
I was on the first team that started the streak, and I won every time. So that's hard to beat. I mean, that's
epic.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah, a lot of
That's why
people
he
don't
was
know that.
inducted into the Motorcycle Hall of Fame in 2000. Hall of Fame inductee.
So I mean, like, there's not any particular thing. I mean, I've been all over the world.
Did you like racing fast cross?
It was okay. It
In
was
Italy?
okay. Like I didn't.
Crazy jumps though, huh?
Yeah, like I probably I love the feel of it, but I don't want to say that I just was like on my list to I had to go do it, but it was pretty cool how they took care of us and everything, Saporiti and all that. So
Hey,
yeah, it was cool.
How about when you'd go into the sand section and there was that one double in the middle of that super fast straightaway?
I'd never been.
So the takeoff was like a ski jump. Well, the landing was like this. So your trajectory for the landing wasn't right. So you had to over jump it. But then it was going into a turn. So once the track got rough, you're over jumping this thing into the turn, into the braking bumps. And God, I'm going to say it was 1990. Some Euro dude put you into the wall.
Yeah, I think I remember.
And you remember you wanted to kill the guy. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I
because
do,
it was
yeah.
all those like tires stacked up. It was like sunken in, so it was like hitting like a brick wall after this. So if you landed, which many of the Euro guys, they overjumped it, land in the braking bumps, they just explode. But then you hit a brick wall at the end, essentially. That's what it was like. Well, he got handled by
I got cleaned out by somebody, and I mean that was the deal. Is when any of us at our caliber, we always had a target on our back, and dude, those guys were willing to like just
Risk it all.
The guy
risk it
probably
all.
missed his rear brake.
Oh, for sure he missed it.
Overjumped
Yeah.
that double, missed his rear brake. He probably still to this day is like, oh man, he probably wakes up like,
I mean, maybe, or else maybe he's pumped that he took me out. I don't know. As long as I came
He's
back
got a-
healthy, I was always good. Like I just didn't want to get hurt in Europe, and
You know, you know the crazy thing when I was thinking about this driving here today is how many people after your professional racing career, dirt bike racing career, how many great riders you have got to work with along the way as a mentor, riding coach, trainer, whatever you want to
let's
be.
see. So who's the first rider that you
I would
chose?
say I was the first
this guy,
one.
yeah.
So RC.
So for you guys that don't know him, Jonny, I met Jonny probably when I was an amateur kid at some point. I saw him along the way, but really connected. In 1996, I'd come out here to sign my first professional contract, and I signed a 3-year deal with Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, and I think that week, I came midweek, signed my deal, and then I think it was San Diego Supercross was that weekend. And so Oakley then took me, Jonny was working for Oakley at the time, in sports marketing, and that's how I met Jonny, and they took me to San Diego Supercross, and that's where we first kind of met. Then I didn't see you a lot because I was still racing amateur, but then my first pro race at Steel City, you were there, obviously. You were the moto guy for sports marketing. At the time, Oakley was much smaller back then. And yeah, we just kind of formed this bond. So I came back out to California. Let's see here. Steel City would have been what, September? No.
Early September back then.
Yeah.
That was the last race of the season, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
September. And I came back out for October, had to do some testing, and Jonny came out to hang out with me to the track, at the track, and then, yeah, I started staying with him instead of staying. He was living in Laguna Niguel at the time, so I spent most of my time with him. Yeah, I mean, so that was my relationship with Jonny. That's how it started and formed, and he just kind of took me under his wing. He taught me the right things to do. I mean, I always had a good base in the riding standpoint, but he really, at the beginning stages of my career, he really helped me with my racecraft as a professional, what to expect, how to set the bike up. He had been in every situation. You know, then when Jonny wouldn't go to so many races, I got to learn from guys like Fro, but you really put that base in me, and it was tough the first couple of years, man. Yeah. But I always remember there was this one time that stood out, and I think from that point on, until I got to the 250 class, we were at Charlotte, and it was 1997, and I ended up winning 3 races out of the series that year in the East Coast, 125 East Coast, and he's like, dude, you just got to be there at the end. And ever from that point on, he's like, dude, I don't care what you do, just be there at the end. Give yourself a chance. And I still can remember it to this day.
Well,
I can
because
remember where I
you
was.
were crashing your brains out that year.
Yeah, I was.
So you won how many races that year?
3.
3.
I won 3, Roncado won 3, and I think Dowd won 1.
And Ferry won
None,
0.
but he won the championship.
And won
But he
the
got like
title.
second just about every
like
race.
every race or something, yeah.
So that's my, for those of you who don't know, I mean, most everyone does, but to our first-time listeners and people just getting in the sport that are going to watch this, that's how I met Jonny. That's how our relationship formed. And in my opinion, I think he's the best riding coach and I would say mentor in the business. And after we were done working and I retired, then did you go to Stu after that, or was it Barsha?
So did you coach
can't
anybody
remember.
while you were working with
I've had
Ricky?
a lot
You
of
didn't work on
cocktails
anybody
since
else?
then.
No,
so.
I was only Ricky, and I like just even back up even a little bit more. Like I didn't ever have any plans to even do what I was doing. I was already retired. I was pretty content with my where I was. I had a fine little job there at Oakley, which one of my first sponsors, and but it just kind of naturally fell on my plate that, man, this is really cool that I could help Ricky, and Jeannie and Big Rick totally trusted me with little Ricky, and yeah, I basically just pretty much lived with us, and we didn't have kids then, all that, so it worked out really good, and yeah, God, I made this guy into a monster. It was like pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it just worked out well because he was always hardworking. He came from nothing, same kind of thing. I came from nothing, and I was willing to work hard. I just needed some guidance on what to expect, and I needed to be groomed. And the cool thing about it, I look back, yeah, my parents were, if Jonny said it, they believed it, and they didn't step on Jonny's toes. Like, a lot of people, my mom has a reputation for helping me, and she did a lot of great things through my career, but my mom hardly ever said anything to me at the races, ever. There were some times I go to the races, I wouldn't even talk to my parents throughout the weekend. Right. They gave me my space, they let me do my thing.
Yeah, no. And there's so many parents that make that mistake of not cutting the cord early enough.
Yeah. It just worked out. Yeah, I don't think that it worked out good. He was going to the races for Oakley, and he was able to help me at the same time. And yeah, I think that position just kind of naturally progressed. And then, yeah, it was good. And then
who'd you work with after RC next?
Well, wasn't it Dunge? Like, remember?
Yeah, that's right. It was Dungy, because I get him and Barsha.
Yeah, like Dungy early when he was like first year guy, maybe.
Yeah, like I had quite a few calls to get, Dunge needed some help. And I just really didn't have too much of a time slot. And then finally, Ricky was kind of, come on, Jonny, this guy's going to be good. Like he's not going to make it without a little bit of your guidance. So I finally I don't want to say I buckled or anything. Like I just said, okay, I made time for Dunge. And actually it was really cool because obviously we all know how Dungy turned out. And while I may not have been there a long period of time, just like Ricky said, I instilled some pretty gnarly stuff at the get-go. I'm like, boom, I was really hard on him. Work ethic, mindset, just,
I should have hired you in 1991.
There you go, like that, exactly. But yeah, so Dungy turned out really good. We're really good friends up to this date. He'd probably sit here and say the same thing like Ricky is saying about me. We had that special bond for sure. And then there's a list that goes on, and I'm still doing it even today. So Stewie came. Even I wanted to make sure with him he was good with it. I'm like, Stewie's calling me, dude. Like, what do you think of this, Ricky?
I'm like, go for it. I want to see him succeed,
Yeah. So that was pretty cool to work with a guy of that caliber. We all know we
How gnarly was that guy?
The gnarliest. Yeah. As far as speed on a bike, remember how we used to think how we. Was really intrigued on what
he used to watch videos like crazy, right?
Yeah,
like old races.
Room and he'd just sit there and study. He was just like,
what would he look for? Like when he was studying it,
Well, I heard that he used to watch old races a bunch.
What was he when he was watching? What was he trying to accomplish?
The times that I was with him, he would just almost be like silent, dead silent, and then I would have to go like, what do you think of that? Like I would, even if it was just a move that he did, I go, where did you think that you could create that? Even if it was, we all know he did the Bubba Scrub, or how did you think you could ride at that pace the whole time, without, and he just goes, what do you mean? Like I had to win at all costs. I'm like, well, I wish I could get that out of you. Like I didn't think he really had to win at all costs, but that's how he was brought up. I think he would have won plenty more championships if he didn't have that mindset. So I felt a little sorry for him that it was all about winning. And it is with us, but also, like Ricky said, well, you have to be there at the end if we want to win the championships.
Yeah, but I always felt, because he whooped everybody's ass so bad as an amateur, that, this is my, impression, is that his father, like, to win by a second or two over an opponent or a competitor, I should say, that he believed was far less superior. Less superior, that's a double negative. Like you win by a second, that's not a good ride. You're supposed to beat this other rider by 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Right. So it was always like, no matter what, you have to go out and just demolish the competition. And even if you win by a second or two, that's not going to be good enough. Yeah. Like, that's kind of the impression that I got.
That you're right on. Because I remember I even sat him down and had talks about that, whether if it was even in time practice, if he didn't have 2 or 3 seconds on everybody, it was like, something, a light switch went off, like, dude, we got to switch. I'm like, no, dude, you're fine. You know what that would equate to in the main event? And we're like, this guy in his prime didn't even look at the lap times anymore. I mean, we did all in the beginning of his career, but he didn't even care.
Yeah, but that's like, and that's what happened when you had when James stepped up to the 450 class in Supercross, and you're like, so now you got to bring it. Is that time practice? Now it was on, and usually you two guys were like 3 seconds faster. And Reed sometimes would be there, and sometimes he'd be a second or 2 or 3 off. If that wasn't 3 seconds, then we're off. And it's like, well, wait a second here. You're 3 seconds a lap, 20 laps, right?
Yeah, do the numbers.
Do the numbers. Yeah. You're lapping second.
So yeah, I saw that a little bit and felt for him a little bit on that. Like, hey, dude, you're good. You're fine with that.
I used to get mad at Jonny when he was working for James, because James would do things in certain races, and I would call him on a Monday. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you did you not tell James what you used to tell me? Did you not tell him to predict what was going to happen, or hey, if you're in this position? And Jonny's like, yeah, dude, I told him everything that I would have told you, and hey, well, look out for this little area right here, don't do this. And there's been a couple times with some riders that you work with, I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? I shouldn't be getting mad at Jonny, but I'm like, that wasn't acceptable for me. Right. Not that it was acceptable for these guys, other guys that you're working with, but when you have the best, and I know, people make mistakes, but these were just mistakes that shouldn't have been made for everyone,
So that was always frustrating, and still would be even today if I'm not getting across like I did with you. So I think that I know what I'm talking about, and if the rider that I'm working for is absorbing that and learning that racecraft right from the get-go, that's lethal.
See, that's
what's going to make you win championships.
That's where I feel like, even though your time with Dunge was short, you didn't work with him throughout his whole career for certain reasons, but you could tell later on in his career that was all stuff, a lot of that stuff that he
you can
learned.
See, because you're like, oh, okay, I know that.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
So speaking of, now
that's kind of cool to see.
Here we're going into 2020. And you've taken on some new athletes that you're working with, Joey Savacci.
Yeah, I still work with Joey. Yep.
And then you're also working with Hunter Lawrence, Australian rider. Correct. Right? And you've even
his
taken...
sister.
You're working with his sister, Jet. His brother, Jet, right?
Yeah.
He's sitting over here off to the side. These two together have got to keep you...
Yeah, it's pretty comical.
Plenty entertained.
Do you ever, seems like you guys have way more fun on bike rides now than you did when...
With you, it's just straight grind.
Oh, dude, it's skill on a mountain bike to start with.
You clarified that.
You can go uphill but not downhill?
Yeah, Now I can't go uphill or downhill. Good on the flats though.
Really good on an electric mountain bike these days. So okay, so you got Joey, who unfortunately had that foot injury, but he's a 450 guy, established veteran. Hunter, how old's Hunter?
Hunter's 20.
20, and then this knucklehead is 16. So Jet's 16. So you got quite a diversity, like range there. What's that like having to balance?
Yeah, like I usually have always just had one guy, and
I told him he needed to have more. But
yeah, he's been like, dude, just grab a couple lights guys or one or two and just, but I'm like, I was always like, I don't want to cut myself too thin. I still have my mountain bike racing to do for my Team Baghouse specialized team. And
meanwhile, Jonny told me he was done from the mountain bikes when he was 42. He says, I'm retiring from mountain bike racing when I was 42. Or it might have been 45 when this is when I was racing with him and he was 35, 38 or when I was living with him, he was 35, 38 at the time. And I was saying, like, dude, how much longer are you going to race? He's like, I'm probably go till I'm 42, maybe 45.
And I'm still going now. So
How do you now? I didn't put that on the deal.
I'm 58 now.
58.
Dang.
Dude, still crushing it though. 58.
Dude, thanks.
But doesn't you don't feel? So I'm 49. I just turned 49. Yeah, 49 doesn't feel like I thought it would. Keep in mind, I got a few aches and pains, a little stiff here and there. I got to do some yoga to be able to, stand up straight at times. But does 58, even with the knee thing, like that wasn't what you thought 58 was going to be like, right?
I think when I hit about 55 is when I really noticed something, like a little bit harder,
Yeah.
It's wear and tear. I mean, that's like my knee. I go, I'm going to have my knee done. I feel a little bit the repercussions of what we did in our profession. So, but I've kept myself relatively fit.
You got
the thing is, here's the thing, like I look at it this way, there's age brackets. You got 20 to 40.
Dude, that's crazy when he says that. You're pushing 60.
But then when he
really
turns
is.
60, he's gonna be like, dude, I'm still young because he's gonna be
Because the
thinking about
mindset
this.
is I'm not 80.
That's right.
Right?
See what I'm saying? So like, I feel younger now than I did when I was 39, because I'm at the beginning bracket.
Dude, so you got 9 years on me, Johnny, but I think of it, I'm like, okay, so my life expectancy, probably like 82, 85, something like that. I'm like, dude, 30 more years of this shit?
That's all they.
I'm not sure I can pull it off.
That's
30
what they
more
told
years.
you. That's
I
all
think
you
that's
got.
what it is. Yeah, there's like a
you'll
chart.
probably-
This
They
is
told
my
me
chart.
92.
Yeah, you're gonna live longer than that. You're good.
I don't know if I don't know if I can
Okay,
make
so
it to
that's even worse. I got
92.
40 more years of this shit?
Of what?
Just
what's-
life, dude.
You want to see your
Gnarly.
kids grow up?
Yeah,
and
I
get
do.
married?
I do.
So,
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, no, I don't want to cash it in early. I'm just saying, like, when I stand up from getting done with this show, it's going to take me a few seconds to, like, actually straighten out all the way. What's it going to be like in 30 more years?
Well, 30 might be pretty ugly. But 9, you're gonna be okay.
9, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, dude.
I'll
I'm
keep
telling you, you're
training.
gonna be fine. I don't think you're gonna have to have it.
No, I feel pretty good.
So, this was just a year out of my life. I'm fine. I don't even really bring my knee up anymore. I'm good.
I would like to know what's the toughest thing for you as far from a balance standpoint of working with Jet and Hunter. Like, what do you, other than them playing together and having fun? I know sometimes you got to crack the whip. I'm guessing. I haven't talked to you about it. This is why I'm interested to hear now. When you guys go to the practice track or test track, what is your, like, not that you struggle with, but your biggest challenge? Do you find like, man, this is pretty challenging, or is it not challenging?
I had a feeling that it was because Hunter was hurt when he first came on with a shoulder injury, and then unfortunately last week he has another shoulder injury, so he's out of Supercross. And we'll just rebuild him for the outdoor nationals. And then I've been with this guy for over 4 months now, so which is it's been fun. It's been really fun. Like, this guy he's a rookie, but he don't ride like a rookie.
It's like having like a fountain of youth. So right, so you're 58, but yet you keep working with these younger riders. You know, decade after decade, you're kind of starting back with the younger rider. Is that like have any effect on you, like personally, like you kind of, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, I think to me, like with Jet, is pretty similar to a little bit with you because it's at a relatively young age. I've had some guys that I've helped, and Dungy was pretty young, and got him right on the right path pretty quick within a couple years. This with Jet feels a little bit like Ricky because they're both so young. So I like that part because no one's got any super bad habits yet, this and that, and like, so I'm liking what I'm doing with Jet. Hunter's unbelievable too. He's the workhorse of the family. He's been a byproduct of the Lawrence family coming up behind him, and his parents, Darren and Emma, have done an amazing job. They have another brother in the middle that doesn't race, Tate, that's amazing, another amazing Lawrence. So, yeah, I still think the world of Hunter. I think he's going to come out and really, you know, the thing about Hunter is that I've watched him for a while. I didn't really know too much about Jet, always heard about him. Hunter's been a byproduct of Stephen Everett's. He was under his program, Kenny's program through Heiko, his dad. So I can kind of see how their styles are. Typical Stefan, who rides a little bit like Ken.
Yeah, he does.
These guys are super talented on the motorcycle. So like, you know me, I come from the technical side. I love that. Tried to introduce.
One like that
Didn't
for
work
me.
for Ricky.
Ricky, what?
Well, if this is how it's going to be, we better start training.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ricky would say, I mean, halfway through his career, dude, we picked and dissected that completely. He was super technical on that. Like, I mean.
Yeah, I didn't have the form, but as far as technicality.
Yeah, he got it. You know, it took a while, but you know, I was still able to ride back then too, even if I had to demonstrate, or I'm like, come on, let's go watch MC or K-Dub back in the day.
A lot of clinics.
You guys never watched me?
On things what not to do. Right? We says it was. See what Fro's doing.
That
That's
took
what
36 minutes for you to throw your first jab in at me.
Ooh, you did get good starts. Remember
He
this?
did.
Yeah,
He did
Thank
get
you,
good
Jonny. I
starts.
appreciate it.
We used to, you know what we did say? I do remember these conversations, like, dude, how can he do that and he still parties like that? How can he go out there and do that?
It's a special talent. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So you were famous for, back in the early 80s, you wore these, part of your gear was these leg gaiters. You were the first person to wear them. Mm-hmm. And there was these like, it was like your pants, like these things that were basically like
He
skirts.
loves it, dude.
They were skirts for your boots.
Yeah, you don't want your boots to get dirty, right?
But
or
then
wet.
the gaiters got dirty, so what was the difference? Who came up with that? You were on JT at the time?
Well, it came out of the Mugen Honda deal.
Oh, yeah.
In '80, so that was my first year as a factory rider. Son of Honda signs me up, but all my stuff came from Japan, and they were built on the. They weren't even the ones that I put on, like when I wore it for JT.
Well, they were part of the
Oh
pant.
yeah, they were bell bottoms, and they had a zipper. So, dude, they had the normal, put it in your boot, plus a zipper with.
So it's,
Well, I think it said meant Johnny O down there in Japanese.
yeah, but yeah, it was the Japanese
Yeah.
writing.
So
Dude, you
I
had
was-
bell bottoms on.
I'll
That
tell
was-
you, just
that's
being
pretty
honest,
cool.
I was scared shitless to wear it. I was embarrassed. Like, I was like, dude, I better win because this is like, they're going to laugh me.
That's like Brock Glover when he shows up to San Diego
in
with
pink,
that pink
right?
JT
Yeah, so
gear.
the same deal.
And he actually won that night, right?
He did, yeah.
You come out, especially back then, you come out in pink gear, you're going to have to
Yeah.
win.
See, I don't even think I would have I mean, I was in all white, which I was Mr. Clean back then. I always had to try to get the whole shot. Didn't want a speck of dirt on me.
Yeah, this guy had OCD to
Yeah,
the
totally
max.
OCD.
Oh.
He used to walk around his house picking up festers.
Oh, he's got to be.
I still do, yeah.
He's
He
gotta be
picks up
freaking
that.
out
This is
about
here.
being
I'm gonna
in the
do. Can we got this
studio
on video?
with all
This
the
was
lint.
Johnny. He'd walk around like his house like this, bend down, Put in the back of his pocket. the back pocket. I said, what are you doing,
Dude, you
Johnny?
come to my house and work the vacuum if you
He'd
want.
be going like this on the carpet, rubbing the carpet like that, trying to get fur off the carpet. I'm like, dude, you're going to wear your carpet out.
Just OCD. Like
He probably has a Dyson that's worn out. Probably got like a.
trophies were full of festers, we call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he saw it all, you know, and I'm not nearly as bad anymore. Jet sees me. I still do walk around because I got a hairy dog. My buddy. I got a hairy German Shepherd.
Dude, I've seen this guy. He used to be like on the carpet pushing stuff together. I'm like, there was nothing there. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just got to get this dog
there.
fur. Huh?
There was stuff there.
Maybe his
there
eyesight's
wasn't. I
just
mean,
better than yours.
no, there's no way.
All right, guys. So now we're gonna pull it forward here to 2020. Supercross first championship was 1974. Anything about the new schedule stick out to you guys? Just real quick. Anything?
Yeah, for me, I think it's crazy we're going to St. Louis on the second round. That was definitely a switch. Glad to be going back to Gillette Stadium, Foxborough. That's going to be a lot of fun. Kind of bummed we're not going back to Nashville. I thought the crowd was good at Nashville. I'm not sure why we aren't going back there. And of course, I love hanging out in the city. That place is a killer place to stay, and always have a good time there. So
And Denver was huge last year, right?
yeah, and then we got the 50th running of the Daytona Supercross. We got a lot of fun, cool features coming back for that event. It's going to be cool to see. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's going to be like it always is. It's going to be a game of survival and who can be the most consistent. And we got a lot of fun guys to watch.
And for the first time in a long time, the final race is not going to be at Sam Boyd Stadium in Vegas. It's going to be in Salt Lake City. That's right. I think the last time the final race was somewhere else was '96.
Yeah, I think it's good for the sport. I think it's great for Salt Lake City. Vegas is always going to be Vegas. I think there's going to be a lot of people there, of course, and you never know how the championship's going to go. It could easily be wrapped up. Somebody could be getting a title there, so it could be a title weekend there for both classes, for the 250 class and for the 450 class. So yeah, good schedule. I'm looking forward to getting it on.
Speaking of riders, Supercross Live did a new thing this year where they pulled 75 different people.
Power rankings.
Yeah, so they did the Supercross power rankings for 450, 250, and then also
If they
the
did
Elite.
75, there was only 74 turned in. There's one guy that missed it.
You missed it? So yours wasn't turned in?
No.
Or maybe they wanted 76. And
Okay.
It says 75.
Yeah.
So is it
Power
surprising?
rankings.
Is it surprising?
Here's the power rankings.
Yeah, take a look. Is it surprising that Eli Tomac was #1 on the power rankings?
With
He's never won the title.
With his I think they get caught up in his speed. That's what it is. His speed overshadows his downfalls for a lot of people.
I would say the exact same thing about the 250 class. That they had Austin Faulkner was top of the list in the power rankings in the 250 class. And I feel like it's that same aura. It's that speed thing that we all fall in love with and like, oh, he's just like so unbeatable, right?
Yeah,
But
I
neither
can.
one of those guys
I mean,
have won the respective championship. So when does the fact that Cooper Webb won the title, when does he get the respect? Does he got to do it again?
Yeah,
Obviously, to gain that respect by everybody?
I personally think if he does it again, he'll be at the top next year for the power ranking. Cooper Webb will. Same with Austin Faulkner. He has a ton of talent. The guy can ride a dirt bike. He's really fast. So that you know, and you can't deny that. That's probably why he's up there. I think there's some guys on this list that aren't getting the credit that they deserve. But it's funny because, you know, they pick for the winners in the power ranking got Eli Tomac in the 450, Austin Faulkner in the 250, but they say OEMs, they pick KTM.
KTM over Kawasaki, yeah.
Yeah, KTM over Kawasaki. Now I will tell you, I can't tell you who I think is going to win the 450 class It's so hard. We talked about it earlier these days. You really don't know. Some guy, I can't tell until the first 5 laps of a main event. I really can't.
Well, that's what everybody always asks. Like when I was doing Supercross, right? When I was doing broadcasting, is like, what's your predictions? I'm like, man, I don't know. And I think the more you know, the more that you realize that you don't know.
Yeah.
And the people that are running their flapping their soup coolers are the ones that really don't know shit, and they think they know a bunch. And then they make all these predictions. I'm like, dude, I don't have a clue.
I will tell you, I was doing some studying on the way down here today, and I said this earlier around Monster Energy Cup time, is that Monster Energy Kawasaki have put themselves in a fantastic position. They have a legitimate shot at every race they go into winning the 450 main, the 2 guys. Yeah. Rarely do you see that, of 2 guys on each team having a legit shot. I think we all know that AC can win. I think we all know that Tomac can win. Now, you might not be on the AC train yet, and I'm not saying I'm on the AC train, I'm saying he's capable of it. And I think if he makes it, my prediction is if he makes it through the first 5 to 6 rounds, look out.
When's the last time that a team had at least 2 that, you know, Adam Cianciarulo was 4th on the power rankings. When's the last time that a team had 2 riders that you think, okay, they've got a shot at this? Obviously, when you were in factory Honda, if you hadn't have done the knee thing that we just talked about coming into 86, it would have been Bailey, RJ, and yourself battling for that.
Yeah, think of that.
Probably like, if it's just more current, don't you think Dunge and Roxon were a pretty not good dynamic for, they were kind of going on the KTM. That seemed like it was pretty.
Yeah.
No, I feel like maybe.
Well, even Marvin. Yeah, I mean KTM. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
1 year ago, KTM.
I just
How soon we forget.
Yeah, because we forgot about Marv, but he's injured. But yeah, like they had 2 guys literally for a while that could do that.
Yeah. I think maybe we just always assume that from KTM because they've been so strong for so many years and they've always been stacked. So maybe that's why I'm more like, holy crap, you know, Kawasaki has positioned themselves perfectly, and they have, you know.
Quick thoughts on Webb, your reigning champion, or Anderson, who won the championship just 2 years ago?
Well, I always give the defending championship the nod. He deserved that right. I think he's going to be great. I think he learned a lot last year. You know he's going to be better on the bike. He's got a year under his belt with it. They probably have improved the bike in the areas where they were slacking last year. So you know Cooper Webb's going to be better. You just have to assume that. Yeah. And then, I mean, and then Jason Anderson, had a lot of time to watch him in New Zealand and Australia. I really feel that he's riding well. He looks really comfortable on the bike. He could go anywhere he needed to. I know he wasn't racing the normal guys that you would see at Monster Energy Supercross, but he looked comfortable on the bike. And after talking to him a little bit, he likes the position he's in. He explained to me that he didn't like the position of being defending champion last year. So I think, you know, we shouldn't sleep on his skills. And remember, he won Phoenix last year, or Glendale, and he got hurt the next week. So, that's right. Yeah. So,
all right. So the Supercross research department is going to be with us again this year. I love the stat stuff, Johnny. That's my thing.
I can tell.
So
it's all good stuff.
So it's really interesting. So this is focused on Adam Cianciarulo, right? So he's graduating the 450 class. In the history of the sport, okay, first 125 regional championship was 1985, correct? I think it was 85. So since then, 109 riders have won 125/light/250 main event in the previous 35 years. Okay, 109 riders have won a main. 56 riders have won a regional championship. Okay, of those 56 champions, only 22 riders have won at least one premier class main event. 56 champions, only 22 have gone on to win at least one main event. That's 39.2% of the champions have only won a main. So think about that gap from being a champion, you're just a champion, and now you go on and you fail to win a main event. I mean, that's...
It's almost better to not be a 250 champion.
Well, I'm going to get there. I will say that 6 of those champions that we just talked about never started a Premier Class main event. That was Bobby Moore, Shea Bentley, Brandon Jessman, and Ben Townley. And then, of course, right now, Chase Sexton and Dylan Ferrandis are still in the 250 class. So technically, they haven't ridden a 450 main event yet. Also, of the 56 champions, only 8 have gone on to win at least one Premier Class championship, 14%. So the mountain gets steeper. It's like, what is it on Mount Everest? The last little part, Hillary's the last little thing. They named it after Sir Edmund Hillary. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody.
I don't either. No.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, that's a free solo question.
Yeah.
You love-
Dude, that was insane. Here's where it really starts to get interesting. 14 riders have won multiple regional championships, right? So, and nobody has 3, so we're basically talking about 2. So 14 riders have won 2, what is now the 250 class regional championship. 7 of those riders have at least one Premier Class main event win.
50%.
50%. These are 2-time champions.
Regional champions.
Only 50% of them won a main event. Then it drops down to only 3 of them have at least a Premier Class championship, have at least one. 21%.
Crazy, man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like the step. So it's like, the point I was trying to make is, you know, it's really important to win those titles in the regional things to set yourself up for the Premier Class. But then the mountain just gets so steep and it gets so much more difficult.
Well, I was looking at this next one. I really know you want to.
Well, no. Now, this is not because of me. This is Adam Cianciarulo that we're talking about. Okay. So here we go, Johnny.
Go for it.
Since regional riders have graduated to the Premier Class, right, which would have been 1986, only one rider has won the Premier Class championship without winning a regional title previously. I did that in 97. Okay. One time in 35 years, a rider has won the Premier Class without winning the regional championship. That's where we're at with Adam Cianciarulo. He didn't win the regional championship. The West Coast had a pretty good shot both those years.
I think he's the guy that
so,
can do it.
So that's my question. What is it about Adam Cianciarulo that makes you think that he'll join me on that list?
Because I think that he's learned how to win again, because he had so many injuries and he had a rough go at it for many years, basically since he's been professional, and he hasn't lived up to what we thought he all would be. I think this year something clicked for him midway through the race in Oakland. He started making some mistakes that he'd always had in the past, and then like something clicked. He slowed down, then started pulling away, won. Then the guy was just on rails the rest of the season. And take away his mistake in Vegas, I mean, it was such a minor mistake, but it was very costly. He's still made leaps and bounds and made huge gains, and now he remembers what it's like to win again. And when he remembers what it's like to win, then everything works hand in hand. You start getting better starts, you put yourself in good situations, and you make your own luck. So that's why I think that mindset is there now, and he's just going to carry it on to the 450.
So, Johnny, his crash at the end of the main event in Vegas last year, turning point. So, tough lesson. It's either going to break you or it's going to motivate you. What do you say?
Well, obviously it looked like it motivated him because he came out to redeem himself in the Outdoor Nationals and he rode spectacular. So I think he only had one choice. You know, like either sit there and
Feel sorry for
himself like maybe he had in the past. But I think he's mature enough now and content with his riding ability, and possibly looked like he knew he was probably going to take that spot on Cowie. And I think he's going to do good. Like I'm impressed by him. I think Ricky and I both said it about him. He's taller. He's got more leverage on the bike. He looks like he's already like he looks like he's on a small bike on that thing. He really puts that.
Well, he's
forward much.
matured. Like he's physically matured.
Yeah, well,
right? Mentally, everything.
Yeah, he also told me, I asked him, I said, what is the biggest thing you noticed going from 250 to 450? And he'd never ridden a 450, like a race 450 ever before. And he told me, he says, I was surprised at how easy to adapt to the 450.
Yeah.
He wasn't expecting it to be that easy. So if he thought it was going to be hard, then he's even that much further along in the transition from the 250 to the 450. So I'm not sitting here trying to get on the Adam Cianciarulo bandwagon, but I'm just telling you from my point of view, I'm giving everyone my thoughts and why I think he's going to do well. Now, he could go out and crash the first weekend and make the same simple mistakes that he used to make the beginning of his years up until last year. He could do that. I just don't see it happening. I would be very surprised.
You used to crash your brains out when you were riding a 125. And look what happened to you. 48 main event wins, 5 titles. Yeah. So it's possible. Yeah. All right, well, we'll see. History is working against him, but he seems like that type of guy that can just...
That's what they said about you.
Around.
You beat the king of Supercross.
Got lucky. Yeah. Got lucky. All right. So, our buddy here, Ricky, he was all about the off season and doing the work, right? And it's like Ricky says, you gotta preparate. You gotta preparate.
Yeah, so we're on live television, and I screwed up, and I said,
what the hell does preparate mean?
I meant to say these guys
I was
need to
gonna say,
prepare.
like, what's this word?
And I said,
Johnny
yeah,
was not even laughing.
I meant to
He
say
was like,
preparation.
So that's why. That's
I meant to say preparation. I said it's all about the preparation, and I said that's what I meant
Well, it was
to
prepare and preparation.
say. And yeah, these guys, they got to make sure that they preparate.
And you're still getting beat up on.
Ah, dude, it's never,
It
it's
comes
never
with the
ending with this
territory.
guy.
Yep.
Meanwhile, he had one thing he wasn't supposed to say that night, and he said it in the first sentence.
Ken Hutchinson-Feld says, do not refer to this race as Anaheim 1 or A1. Ricky and I are doing a stand-up together, and I'm like, blah, 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 and I go to throw to Ricky, and I go, here tonight at A1. And I go,
He's looking over
dude,
to
you
the
can see
cameras
it
on
on
me.
the footage. I was like inside. I went, that was the one thing Ken said not to say, and my first comment ends with the thing I wasn't supposed to say. So anyway, so we'll have some fun with that. But so real quick, we just got a little bit of time left, but you guys, Jonny, you as a racer, then as a mentor and a coach to Ricky throughout your careers, you guys are known for putting together that training structure. What does the off season and then the pre-race preparation look like for riders these days? You know?
Yeah, I think everybody's a little bit different, but everybody wants to talk about maybe a boot camp they want to call it, or it depends on how healthy they were. Sure, I know everything about this guy, what he did. Didn't take a lot of off season, a lot of downtime. Pretty much kept kind of running it pretty hot, and sure he had a little bit of downtime. Everyone's a little bit different. When I work with an athlete, I try to do as much research as I can, like you guys do on all your stats and all that, on how hard I can push an individual, an athlete, and then I go to work, and then I know by just because I'm out there with them, I can do bike rides, I can test these guys' limitations, and I'll even get some raw numbers, data on them too, just so I'm kind of not guessing. And then like my current guy, Jet Lawrence, he hasn't done any training up till I met him in the end of August. So basically, he's got about 18 weeks of training in him. It's pretty long, actually. I'd probably say that he has. I don't think there's a guy maybe that has as many laps in him already on Supercross than probably combined 450, 250 guys. So his has been pretty intensive of what I put him on, but there's been times where he was pretty tired, and I pulled back and regroup a little bit, have some easy days, and but you know, I don't really get so caught up in saying, oh, it's got to be a boot camp. I just kind of just put it in place and work them as hard as I can, let them have the rest when they're tired, and I need them to tell me also, communicate with me like how they're feeling. And Ricky and I worked really good on that. Sure, he was tired at times, but he would tell me that, and then we just back it off a little bit and regroup. It's the years and years and years that really does the wear and tear on the guys. So, like, so you know, especially when they're young, I think they can bounce back pretty quick.
What do you do as far as like, do you taper it down, the workload leading into the first race at all, like so that you're
like like let's just say we're just using Jet Lawrence for an example. Like he's already been on a 2+ week taper already, and then
go into maintenance.
Yeah, just kind of pretty much just like Ricky said, a maintenance mode. We're just doing.
See, I did it the exact opposite. So you guys do all this work and then taper it down by the first race. I was like down here, and then I'm like, oh shit, we're about 2 weeks away. Maybe I need to step it up.
Imagine what you could have been.
But also remember, like a little bit with you, Ricky. Remember, we didn't want to have you totally peaked. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to come in like you're just peaked to the moon, because I think all athletes, and it doesn't have to be motocross. You know, at a certain age, you can do an age deal because they're all pretty young, teenagers, early 20s, later 20s. You only get like, Jet probably gets 3 or 4 peaks a year at that age. You know, maybe it goes down to 3, 2 peaks. So, you know, you got to re-peak for the outdoor nationals. So everything's about peaking, you know, just right, and then being able to handle the duration with the travel, all that stuff comes into play. It's you know, all of us have done it, so we know it's pretty gnarly, you know. Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk about one last thing here before we wrap up this first episode of Real Talk 447. We talked before we started about a book by Tim Grover called Relentless. Ricky, you haven't read it yet.
I might pick it up for the flight home.
Get the audio book. It'd definitely be good. Good for the drives.
I like reading.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I go to sleep in like a page.
I'm a better reader than I am a listener.
Oh, I go to sleep in one page.
Especially when you're talking.
See how it is?
Land your plane, dude. Tell these people this story. This is really cool.
No. So no. But I want to get your thoughts on Eli Tomac. So we're going to end it here with Eli. Dude has won 27 450 main events. 27 and no title. Why?
I think that I don't have an answer, and if I did, I think I would just be kind of guessing, but I would think that he'd be learning by his mistakes that he's done the last few years. You still got to put him at the top to be the favorite.
People say that the pressure gets to him. What do you think? I know I'm really putting you on the spot here, but...
Were you going to say that? Talk on that one?
It just doesn't end well. It's not going to end well for the people that are Tomac fans. But yeah, he has made mental mistakes. That doesn't and I'm going to say this, and everyone listening to this podcast, I'm going to say it until you guys understand and don't give us any shit for when we are honest with people. But he has made mental mistakes. And you don't have to be the fastest guy to win in Monster Energy Supercross. And why does he I can't tell you why he makes mental mistakes. I have no idea. I don't know, this guy was awesome for me. So why can't everyone else that he's worked with done what I did? I don't know. I honestly have gotten to the point in my older age, I think you're born with it. I think there's some things that you cannot teach. I really believe that. I think there's some things that you cannot, you just can't, you can't teach. So you ask me why? I don't know why. I mean, he's been raised right. His parents are great. You know, he has a great team around him. So I don't know why. I don't
So
know
is there
why
more
he's so-
pressure this year or less pressure?
Oh, it's more pressure. 100%. Now he has a teammate that is probably going to do really well. I think it's going to create some turmoil on the team, myself personally. I think that that's what we're going to see.
All right. Well, then I've got a quote here out of this book, Relentless. It says, and this guy is a no-nonsense dude. He's the guy that coached and trained Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. Like, he says, I don't want to hear that someone can't handle pressure. Everyone can handle pressure. Most people choose not to because it's easier to stay in the comfort zone. But if you want to be successful, to have that place in the sun, then you have to leave the shade. It's not easy to leave the shade. It's cool and comfortable compared to the discomfort of the sun, the hot discomfort of the sun. But you can't be relentless if you can't take discomfort. And you can't be unstoppable if you can only deal with pressure when you have no choice. Pressure can bust pipes, but it can also make diamonds. Pressure can bust pipes, but it can also make diamonds.
I see why you get the audio book now.
What's that?
I see why you get the audio version
Well,
of the book.
I don't read it
No,
aloud to
that's
myself.
that's good stuff, man. But yeah, a lot. I heard a quote the other day. It said that champions are born, champions aren't made. I don't know if I agree with everything about that quote, because I think you can be groomed into a champion, but maybe not made, but you could be groomed, you know, shine the edges a little bit.
Yeah.
Think of that.
Think
Champions are born, not made.
We're about to see in 17 more races, see if we have a new champion.
Who's your prediction?
I don't do predictions, dude. I do analysis.
Okay.
You know that. You know that. All right, so what's your best Johnny O story that you can tell? Your boy's not in the room, so go for it.
Probably one time we were in Steel City, and yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Do you want me to not tell it?
Is there a different one you can
I'm just trying to. I mean, dude, we've had so many. There's been so many. Probably the best Johnny O story that I know is when he was in Japan and they were on a safari, and you weren't supposed to feed the animals.
In Japan on a safari?
Yeah. Right? There was like.
Yeah, we were at a test track and it was too muddy. So the safari's right next door.
It's like a zoo.
Yeah, a
A
zoo.
real zoo, like a drive-through zoo.
Oh, but not a safari.
I
like
mean-
in
Okay,
Africa.
like we're driving
There
through
were-
Okay.
a zoo. And you want to...
Yeah, so
you
he
wanna-
has an apple in his hand,
Oh, boy.
okay? And he sticks the apple outside of the car at a giraffe.
It was actually the sunroof, because the sunroof was fully open and I could stand. And a giraffe's head is huge. Like, I didn't even realize. It did fit in the sunroof. It came in and, like, attacked us, really, for that thing. And it literally almost picked up the van. And there was
Because
water.
it started to freak out because his head was stuck in the sunroof.
Yeah, it was just, we were going Jurassic Park type, picture that. And there was so much water coming out of saliva that it was like a hose. Like, we were just so wet. Like,
And if it was today, there would have been like 20
Day-
cell phones videoing the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no
one
footage
ever
of it.
saw it. That's pretty classic one.
Oh, man.
And there's a lot more of the
Dude.
stories like that too.
Oh, yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
That's
We had good
The
stories.
one
My
from
first
Steel
year as an
City-
amateur.
The one from Steel City was really good. We're not going to talk about that one.
Yeah, that one's a little over the top. I don't know how I'm even here.
Yeah,
today.
today it'd
You'd just be
it'd be
a
done
baby.
deal, but yeah.
You'd be a done deal. I would be locked up for life. It was ugly.
Johnny, we appreciate you being
Yeah.
on, dude.
Thanks for coming. Good luck. Good luck to you guys this year.
Thank
We'll
you
be
for
pulling
having
for
Such
you.
a legend. Former teammate.
That's right, brother.
Got him on here.
Good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for the good stories
Yeah,
and the
man.
insight. We appreciate it. So, well, we're going to wrap up Real Talk here. This season's going to be awesome. We've got some new sponsors on board. We've got Slick Products is going to be on board, giving away or doing some giveaways. ODI grips. We've got the Emig Pro grip, the RC4 handlebars. So we're going to do some giveaways with that. Also want to shout out a big thank you to Fox Racing and the team here, the production team, and
Yes.
Fox HQ for partnering with us for Real Talk this year, and should be super fun with a bunch of different studio setups and all that. So also, if you liked what you just saw, make sure that you click like, subscribe, comment. If you want to reach us directly, go on Twitter and go to @Talk447. And if you're on the other social media platforms, use the hashtag RealTalk447. That's it, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
wait to
everybody,
do it
for
again.
listening. We're going to take you out with the Andrew McKeague Band and This Old Life. Thanks for watching.